Hi, Dr. Heather here from Wellspring Chiropractic. Today we're talking about solutions for poor posture. We do find that stress, emotional stress, mental stress, has a big impact on posture. Whether you have poor self-esteem or you're just feeling overloaded with things, it will affect the posture. And so we like to train people on the best practices and techniques that they can use so that they can learn how to neutralize that stress, turn that stress switch off so it doesn't keep driving those poor posture patterns. When you are feeling overloaded, when you're feeling low self-esteem, your body will naturally go into what we call survival posturing, which is a rounded forward posturing because it's the posture that will protect your vital, vulnerable organs. And so if a tiger was chasing you and you were in fight or flight mode, you want to protect yourself. So overloading mental and emotional stress has the same reaction in the body of feeling like you're being chased by a tiger. And poor self-esteem, again, is one where you're feeling like you're a victim or you're vulnerable, and that posture will correlate with that. And so what we have found, there was actually a study done in 2009 that found that great posture actually influenced the confidence you have in your own thoughts, and that poor posture actually contributed to lower self-esteem. So certainly doing things that help to build your own self-esteem could help your posture, but it can go the other way as well, where improving your posture can actually help with your self-esteem, can actually help you manage stresses better. So we like to teach people how to have that great posture as a training for spinal exercises, but we also want to give them the tools to neutralize that stress. So some of the tools that we find are useful. First one I will tell you about is called EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique. And this is learning to tap on the endpoints of acupuncture meridians in order to neutralize stress in 30 seconds. It's amazing how you can just turn the stress switch off in 30 seconds simply by tapping on these different acupuncture points. The other tool we use is a breathing exercise, and we call it square breathing, where you're going to breathe in for a count of 4, hold your breath for a count of 4, breathe out for a count of 4, hold your breath out for a count of 4, and then start the cycle again. So that's a great breathing exercise that can, again, just help to dial down the levels of stress that somebody may be experiencing. You know, we talked about this idea of the survival posturing. There actually was some observations that they noted in indigenous populations, tribal populations that lived in jungles. And they found that these tribes that lived in the jungles, along with the tigers in the jungle, but they never were attacked or eaten by the tigers, except for in very specific circumstances. So you can imagine that they owned their landscape. They owned the place where they were inhabiting. They owned that jungle in the way that they walked with a very strong and upright and confident posture. But if the young men went and got drunk in the village and then were like making their way home and had that kind of uncoordinated and more hunched posture, those were the times when the tigers would attack. And so they could actually perceive from the posture that this person was more vulnerable. So improving your posture actually can help to shift what's happening in your brain and your perspective of the world, as that study showed us. But I thought that was fascinating. Now, one other thing we want to look at is how the nerves that come out of the top of the neck have a big impact on the overall functioning in the body. And so a lot of the stress that can happen in the body, if people are feeling anxiety or anxiousness or stress, and that's putting them into that survival posture, that's all coming from the vagus nerve. And so the vagus nerve, we can actually do some exercises to stimulate the vagus nerve that can actually help to turn the stress switch off as well. One of those is gargling. Yep, that's right. Putting some water in your mouth, putting your head back, and then just gargling a bit actually stimulates the vagus nerve. Another thing that does is humming. So humming actually will help to stimulate the vagus nerve. And the last one is an interesting exercise that you really have to think about as you do. And it's basically you're going to put your tongue behind your teeth on the upper teeth and let your tongue just slide or land right up against the roof of your mouth. And then keeping the tongue up against the roof of your mouth, you're going to swallow. It's kind of hard to do. Right? You have to think about it. It's not a usual thing we do. But if you do that, it actually will help to stimulate the vagus nerve. So I hope that you found these tools useful, and please try them out so that you can learn how to turn the stress switch off, and that will help us cover ground faster when we're working with improving your posture. I hope that you found this useful. If you did, please share it with friends and family. We'll share more again soon.